Welcome to this presentation on the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. My name is Rocky DeFrancesco, and I'm the founder of the Wealth Preservation Institute and the co-founder of the Asset Protection Society. I'm also the creator of the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. This is a very interesting topic that I think you'll like, especially if you're a homeowner, because this program is going to show you how to pay off your mortgage 5, 10, 15 years early with a plan that you're in complete control of and literally has no risk. And so what is the Home Equity Acceleration Plan? H.E.A.P is a dynamic new financial plan that enables you to pay off your home, as I said, several years early without changing your normal spending habits. It is not a bi-weekly plan or some other type of extra payment scheme. You're in complete control at all times. It's very simple, and once budgeted, it happens all by itself. H.E.A.P is also a plan, again, that has no downside and no risk to it. Now, there's some things you need to understand in order to know how this program works. First, you have to understand that when you pay your mortgage, you're paying your mortgage in arrears, meaning that you're not paying for next month's interest right now, you're paying for last month's interest. And so if there's a way that we can lessen last month's interest, then we can help you save money on your mortgage. Interest is charged daily on our home mortgage. So even though you pay your mortgage once every month typically, the bank is charging you interest every day. And so if we can figure out a way to lessen your daily interest, again, we can help you pay off your mortgage early. And almost everybody is earning zero or close to zero on money sitting in their checking account. And for most people, obviously, that's not a good use of your money. And so if we can more effectively use the money in your checking account, then again, maybe we can help you pay off your mortgage early, and you will do that with the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. Now, how does H.E.A.P work? Well, let's first start with who does it work for. And it works for those people who spend less money than they make on an annual basis. I haven't yet found that plan where I can help you pay off your mortgage when you spend more than you make. So the precursor is you need to spend less than you make. If you carry a checking account balance, the bigger the checking account balance, the quicker you'll be able to pay off your mortgage using H.E.A.P. And the higher the average bank account balance, again, is going to be beneficial to you in using this program. Also, you must have equity in your home. Unfortunately, some of our people out there, some of our clients don't have equity in their home. Those people aren't going to be able to use the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. So as long as you have equity in your home, this is a plan that you're going to be able to use. Now again, how does H.E.A.P work? Well, first of all, I recommend that you work with an advisor who actually understands the program, and I have certified advisors who are able to help you. So once you've gone to a H.E.A.P certified advisor and they get the information from you, they'll be able to sit down with you and budget you with this particular plan. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to obtain a home equity line of credit, or what we call a HELOC. Now again, in order to get that, you have to have equity in your home. So that's the very first thing you're going to do, and while it doesn't make any sense to you yet, I'll explain to you why you need that. Once you set up your HELOC, you're going to access it. So let's say you have a $25,000 line of credit via your home equity line. You're going to access it for, let's say, $10,000. Now what are you going to do with that money? Well, it may be counterintuitive. We're going to take that money and we're going to use it to pay down your primary mortgage. So initially, we haven't done anything for you as far as your debt situation is concerned. We're going to take money out of a home equity line, we're going to borrow money, and we're going to pay down mortgage debt, but our mortgage debt is still the same. But hang in there with me, I'll show you how this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our home equity line of credit as our checking account. So currently, most people have a checking account and they're paying their bills out of the checking account, except for they're earning what on the money sitting in their checking account on a daily or weekly or monthly basis? Typically, they're earning zero. So instead of doing that, we're going to set up this home equity line, and we're going to use that as our checking account. So instead of cutting checks out of your normal account, you're going to cut them out of what effectively is a debt account, your home equity line. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, over time, we're going to deposit your paychecks. So what, you get paid every week, or every other week, or twice a month, or however you get paid. What do you do with that money? Typically, you put it in your checking account, again, earning you zero. Now, instead of doing that, you're going to take your paycheck and you're going to deposit it into your home equity line. And what are you going to do when you do that? It's going to start paying down mortgage debt with your check. So instead of putting your checking account earning you zero, we're going to put it into your home equity line and we're going to pay down your mortgage debt. Now, over time, if you make more than you spend, as you deposit money into your HELOC account, you're slowly going to pay that down, and eventually it'll get towards zero. Now, when it gets towards zero, we're going to have you access that home equity line again to take, whether it's $10,000 or whatever the number is, to pay down your primary mortgage. And this will be the process that we take to use the home equity or the Home Equity Acceleration Plan to help you pay off your mortgage. And if you're not following me, don't worry. I'm going to get into a chart that I think will crystallize how this program works. So why does it work? We're going to use every available dollar every day to pay down mortgage debt, which you're currently not doing. Again, when you're putting money in your checking account, you're earning nothing. When you're putting your paycheck into your home equity line, effectively you're using that money every single day to pay down mortgage debt. And remember, your checking account is earning you zero. So this plan will work, and typically what you'll do is you'll pick a home equity line of credit that, because of the amount of money that you put into it, and as you slowly pay off the HELOC, typically you're going to want to pay off your home equity line 2 to 3 times a year. That's really up to you. You can aggressively use this plan or not. That's the beauty of it. Whether you're paying it off once a month, whether you're paying it off once a year, you're in complete control. And again, there's no risk to this plan. Now let's talk about an example, because hopefully that'll crystallize how this program works. So we're going to talk about a $200,000 mortgage, and we're going to assume that you have a 6.25% interest rate. If you had that kind of mortgage, your payment on the mortgage would be $1,231.43. And you would pay that, in my example, I'm using a 30-year term. So every single month for 30 years, if you make that payment, eventually you will pay off your debt. Now what's depressing about this is what? Out of the $1,200 and some payment, only $189.77 is going to pay down principal. That means the rest of the money, over $1,000 of your payment, went directly to the bank to pay on interest. This is why everybody despises their home mortgage. And so, as time goes on, obviously more money gets applied towards principal. So let's look at the 60th month, or basically your 5th year. You still have the payment of $1,231.43. Now you think you get, what, a lot more is going to go pay down the principal? Unfortunately, that's not the case. Only $257.83 is going to pay down principal. And the rest, still almost $1,000, $973, is still going to pay interest. And again, these will continue to go, and eventually more will be paid towards principal, et cetera, when eventually you'll have it paid off. But it takes 30 years. Now let's put some more numbers to this particular example. So let's look at an example client profile. I'm going to assume that the example client takes home $5,000 a month after tax. And while initially that sounds like a lot of money, that's only $60,000 after tax that this client's taking home. Again, the mortgage balance is $200,000. The payment is $1,231.43. Let's assume monthly bills outside of the mortgage of $1,650, and let's say just miscellaneous other spending, if you will. So total monthly spending is basically $3,681, and they're making $5,000. So we have some surplus, right? So this example client is making more than they spend. Now what are we going to do? As I said earlier, the client may take out a $25,000 line of credit, where they have a $15,000 reserve, so if they need some emergency money, they've got it. In which case we're going to actually take $10,000 of the $25,000 and we're going to use it for this particular plan. Now, what's the interest rate on the home equity line of credit? It's typically going to be prime. And in normal circumstances, the prime rate is higher than your home mortgage rate. But we've got an inverted yield, and we've had that for a while. But you know, in the overall general plan here, the home equity line of credit interest rate isn't very important, because you're only taking out a $10,000 HELOC or a $5,000 or a $15,000 HELOC loan versus your primary mortgage, which may be $200 or $300 or $400. That's the interest rate that really drives it. So don't get lost on the fact that if you do this plan, the interest rate may be higher at some point on your home equity line. It has very little impact on the overall finances of the program. So the plan commences, and what do? So you've got your $200,000 mortgage over here. You've got your HELOC. You're going to take $10,000 here, and you're going to pay it here, right? So now we've got $190 on your normal mortgage and $10,000 in your HELOC. We haven't yet done anything for you. You still have $200,000 worth of debt. So if I assume that your paycheck was $2,500 twice a month, what do? We take the $2,500 and we start paying down the HELOC. Now if we didn't include interest, we roughly would pay what? Our $10,000 HELOC down to $7,500, right? Now, what do we do once a month, or a couple times a month? We pay our bills. In this example, I assumed what? $3,681.43 are my expenses. So I put my paycheck in there, right? A couple times a month, $10,000 really went down to about $5,000. But then I paid my bills out of my home equity line. So that goes back up, not to $10,000, but to a little under $9,000, right? So let's put some numbers to this. And you can see the chart there. So as we go, we do $10,000. Right? Then we pay $2,500, then we pay our bills. We put our paycheck in there again, we pay our bills. And we do this for so many months, and after about 4.5 months, what happens? Our HELOC is going to get towards zero, which is our goal, by the way, because what are we doing? We're paying down overall mortgage debt. Now, what happens when we pay off the HELOC to just about zero? Well, actually, before you make your last payment into your HELOC, which would actually take it to zero, or even a plus balance, which you don't want to do, you will take your HELOC and you'll access it again. So let's say you get down to $2,200 or something. You would access it again, $10,000, and what are you going to do with it? You're going to pay it towards your primary mortgage. And when you do this over time, you'd be shocked at how much money you will save, and I'll show you those numbers here in a second. So again, the first mortgage was reduced by $10,000 because we took it from the HELOC. We accessed the HELOC as our checking account. We paid our bills out of there, and we made our deposits. What do we do to our life to implement this plan? Virtually nothing. We changed from using a checking account to using a home equity line account as our checking. That's it. Then we went and we lived our life. So it didn't really affect what we do on a day-to-day basis. And the plan happened automatically. What happened at the end of every month? At the end of every month, it automatically reduced your debt. You don't have to think about sending an extra check to your mortgage lender. You didn't have to budget yourself really any more than you want to. If you want to budget yourself and stay on a strict budget, you can. But as long as you're spending less than you make, the program will work for you. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to think about it. All right, so what else does this plan do for you? It gives you focus. So the example I typically use is, well, you know, you're driving down the road and you see that motorcycle for sale on the side of the road, and you said to yourself, man, I've always wanted a motorcycle. And you know what? I've got $3,500 sitting in my checking account. I can cut the check to buy that motorcycle. That's your typical thinking, because the American public likes to spend the money that they have. It's enjoyable. It's also gotten us a lot of financial trouble. But now when you have the Home Equity Acceleration Plan, what are you thinking about? Well, gosh, I can cut that check for $3,500, but instead of it coming out of a checking account, where's it coming out of? It's coming out of a debt account. And so it'll change the way you think about money, which is a good thing. Now you're thinking, well, I've got daily interest on this. I am buying it. $3,500, am I going to have daily interest on this for how many years and years and years? And you can actually use software that I created to determine how much money that $3,500 purchase is actually going to cost you. It will blow your mind when you extrapolate that out over a 20 or 30 year period. So the good thing about H.E.A.P, even though it happens automatically, and even though you don't have to think about it, I guarantee you it will change the way that you think about buying things. So let's get back to my example. I'm sure you're all wondering, how much did you save in that example? So the person in the example with the $200,000 mortgage with a 6.25% interest rate, if they just paid it off over 30 years, the total payments would have been $443,000 and change. $443,000 on a $200,000 mortgage. If that doesn't make you ill, I don't know what will. Now, with the example we used, again, I'll give you this. It was a little bit of a frugal example. Not everybody's going to have that kind of surplus. Instead of paying off the mortgage in 30 years, you know how long it took? 8.5 years. Which one of those do you like better? Most people are going to opt for the earlier payoff versus the latter. So how much did you save in overall interest? It will blow your mind. The total interest paid is a little over $65,000 versus over $200,000 with doing nothing. The person would have saved roughly $177,000 in mortgage interest by using the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. That is the power of the program. You should already know now, by the way I've explained it, the simplicity of the program. And as I always say to people, because there's no downside and no risk, why aren't you using this program? And the answer is really simple, because most people aren't familiar with it, and unfortunately, most advisors who are giving advice to people are not familiar with it as well. So what happens if you don't stay on budget? Well, gosh, I've got this thing. No, if you don't stay on budget, you know what happens? Your mortgage doesn't get paid off quite as quick. That's it. Well, I had some extra expenses this month. That's okay, pay your extra expenses. This plan happens automatically. Again, there's no risk to it. So if it takes a little longer to pay off your mortgage because you had this other expense, a health expense, sending your kids to some sports camp, whatever it may be, it's okay. It will affect the numbers, but the plan is still working, and it will give you the best opportunity to pay off your mortgage versus what you're currently doing and what everybody does, which is nothing. So here's a little example of what you might get if you were working with a H.E.A.P certified advisor. The software that I designed, which consumers can also purchase, but usually I have advisors using it to help their clients. It prints out a really nice 3-page printout, and this is one of the charts from it. Now, I always kind of make fun of the consumer in a nice way. I say, whether consumers are bright or not isn't really the point. Whether you're a genius or you have an IQ of 5, look at this slide. Which one do you like better? Paying off your mortgage with the red bars or paying off your mortgage with the green bars? Most people like the green bars because it means that they're paying off their mortgage early. And if you see the orange bars down there in the bottom left-hand corner, that's your home equity line of credit. It's going up and down like a yo-yo until such time as the mortgage is paid off. And so you want this printout. You can't wait to get this printout, which is why I suggest you do contact your locally trusted professional who should know about this, and if they don't, have them contact me, and I'll educate them personally on this program. But you want to call an advisor and say, can you run these numbers for me? I can't wait to determine how quickly I can pay off my mortgage using the Home Equity Acceleration Plan. So why aren't your advisors familiar with H.E.A.P? Now, I haven't said so in this presentation yet, but I wrote a book called Bad Advisors, How to Identify Them and How to Avoid Them. And in that book, I describe things that will blow your mind as a consumer, as what you don't know about your advisors. The reason advisors don't know about this particular plan is because there aren't educational entities out there besides maybe my Wealth Preservation Institute that focus on this particular topic to make sure advisors know it. But honestly, the selfish reason that advisors don't know this topic is because they can't make any money on it. Okay? And unfortunately, if they can't make any money on it, typically they don't want to learn it. So I don't take that approach. The advisors I work with don't take that approach. We want you to have whatever's best for you. And if paying off your mortgage is a goal, using the Home Equity Acceleration Plan is a great way to do it. Now, for more information on one of these products, you may be watching this video on a DVD that somebody gave you or on their website. I would submit to you that the chances are significant that they know about these products. Or if you feel the need, you can also contact me with questions. I'd be happy to answer them.